Tuesday. Plovers are out in force. God, they'll probably be breeding again soon. Some crazy dog's already started barking. And someone's walking their dog. God, it's amazing. It's becoming really popular. It's a very rare time I walk down the street and don't see someone walking a dog. Anyway, I finally got to see a video of this guy who has about 600,000 subscribers. A guy came up from Melbourne and moved to Cairns with his wife, girlfriend, whatever, and kid. And yeah, I'd sort of call his type of videos sort of like almost action vlogs, adventure vlogs, because he did things like he got onto a harvester for sugarcane, a harvesting machine with the operator, and we saw the process, which I've never seen, I've got to admit. And it sort of made me think it's a bit like the old Leyland brothers. He also does a lot of fishing and stuff and gives himself challenges, and you know, there's a lot of stuff you'd expect. He's trying to make it commercial, and he's a bit rough around the edges, but he obviously puts a bit of work into it, so good luck to him. He deserves to get a reasonable amount of support. He's making enough to live on, I'd say, with that many subscribers. And like I say, the guy puts the work in, so I certainly don't begrudge him his success. And stuff what I'm doing is so easy. I just walk and talk, and I can't go anywhere because I don't have a driver's license. So I'm pretty well restricted to locations, but he gets out and about and he does lots of things. And I guess that's fairly attractive to a lot of viewers. So I think it's better to have these outlets for this sort of content rather than having the old system where they had the stranglehold with the networks and they would tell you which sort of shows you can make. I mean, this guy might have been inspired by something like Rex Hunt's fishing show, for instance, because he's obviously, fishing's a fairly big part of his shtick by the looks of things. But it's hard work, you know, it's a full-time job, I'd say. These people don't get much rest. It's a small business, and running a small business is tough. I've been watching a New Life in the Sun, which is about a lot of English going over to Europe and setting up businesses. I find it quite interesting to see how they go. A lot of them are quite successful, actually, but the one common denominator is there's quite a bit of work involved. Geez, a few people waiting here for the bus. What's going on? A whole lot of kids. Oh, this will be probably the school bus, which is just coming now. I'd say that kinetic bus is the school bus, and they'll be piling onto that. And that would explain it. The school kids got on the bus, so I caught up with them a couple of times. So just before my bus arrives. Oh. Yeah, enjoyed having a shower this morning. Still feeling sweaty. Still a bit of humidity around. Even though the actual low temperature now has dropped down to 22 degrees. When it was really hot, it was about 24 minimum. So slightly more comfortable, but still summer. But not as bad as the heat waves. You can tell it's a different bus company from Sun Bus. It's moved to Kinetic. The major difference is that Kinetic's obsessed with having ticket inspectors get on the bus. And I don't quite understand what the issue is anyway. How can you have fare evasion when you've got to walk past the actual driver to get on the bus every time anyway? So it's just not an issue. So, but they seem to be obsessed with having ticket inspectors. So yeah, there's no logic to it. But I guess it makes them feel better. It's an imposition to the passengers who already gone through that checking process with the driver. So I don't quite understand it, but that's a corporate culture, I guess. So anyway, we got here at reasonable time. Bus wasn't too crowded. And looking forward to getting home in an hour or so. Well, not an hour or two, about 3 hours. Get home, which will be good. Oh, my neighbours are going to buy me some sparkling mineral water, which is very nice of them. They just passed by while I was waiting at the bus stop, and yeah, I put an order in for 4 bottles of sparkling mineral water. I hope that's not too much to ask, but it's very nice of them to offer, because Coles are bloody useless when it comes to delivering that particular item, and I'm pretty well at the end of my tether with them. I've had to leave the hospital. I was supposed to have treatment today, and not happening because I could have an infection or like a boil type thing in the abdomen. I've got to be looked at. I've got to have an ultrasound anyway. So I'm actually just killing time now because it's midday. I've got to be there, and it's only about 10:15 at the moment up here on the esplanade. So got a lot of time to kill. It's amazing how many people walk down the esplanade for either exercise or just recreation. Quite incredible, but I'm trying to actually find a bench that's actually in the shade, and it's not that easy. Most of them are right in the middle where the sun is, and if you want to be here any length of time, you want to have a bit of shade. So I might try over here and see if I have any luck here, although the grass is incredibly wet. It's very swampy at the moment, still recovering from all the rain we've had. So we'll see if there's any shade here, because I can't stay out in the sun. I'll get sunburnt for sure. So, but the trouble is there a park bench in the shade? That's something that just is at a premium around here. It's pretty crazy. So that's my major concern right now. Well, there's plenty of shade here, but no sign of a park bench. I could just go to imaging because I've got to get that ultrasound, and sometimes I'll squeeze you in if they can. I don't know. I'm a bit worried. I don't want to be out in the sun though. That's the last thing I want to do, because it's actually quite a sunny day today, ironically. It's been so wet lately, but we've got a couple of sunny days coming up, which is normally something good, but not right now when my plans have been totally dashed. I can't very well go home because it's too far to go in Kewarra. Wonder if I can do some shopping, because I'm a little concerned that if this is an infection that's spreading quite a bit, it could go, the nurse said, it can go right through your body, so it's not something trivial. I probably should have mentioned it a week earlier, but being too stoked for my own good, not smart. Yeah, I don't want to be waiting around a hospital that long. I don't know what to do here. A bit of a dilemma. Well, this day hasn't exactly turned out the way I was expecting. I had to go to the hospital as a regular basis, and I found out I told them about a rash I had on my abdomen. I'll show you this. Pretty gross looking, but it's much worse than I thought it would be. It's not super painful. It feels a bit uncomfortable, but as it turns out, we need to have it lanced surgically, and I've got to go under a general anaesthetic to have it done and stay a night at Cairns Hospital. And there's the beautiful view out of the window. Last time I was in Cairns Hospital to have my port inserted, it was looking out onto the esplanade, which was quite a nice view, but this one isn't quite as nice. Currently, I'm the only bed here. There was someone just next to me when I first came here about 2 hours ago, and they wheeled him out. So at the moment, I've got this 2-bed ward to myself, so I suppose that's an upgrade, and got your own ensuite toilet, and you know, it could be worse, I guess, but Still rather be home, of course, but I didn't think this was going to be quite as serious. They've got a drip here where they're feeding in antibiotics and Ceylon solution, and they do provide a small TV, so if I really get bored I can watch broadcast TV, but I'd have to be really bored. But the biggest problem is my mobile is down to 25% battery power, so I've got bugger all left in that, and I'm not sure when I'm going to go under the knife, whether it will be tonight or tomorrow sometime. So this stay at hospital could be longer than I anticipate, and in the meantime can't have any food or water. So not the most enjoyable situation, but there you go. Got to say, staff have been nice though. I've got no qualms about them, and the one in particular that nurse got here seems to be very, very nice. So yeah, that's a bright spot. I still haven't got a pillow though. For some reason they haven't got enough pillows on this ward, and I'll have to keep hassling her to get that. And the other thing is, I don't have my medication with me, so hopefully the pharmacy will provide me with the eye drops I need, and I might just tough it out with the asthma meds. The preventive one I have at night, I might skip that tonight. If I'm only here one night, and hopefully that will be the case, then yeah, we'll see how we go. But did not expect this. It will be good to get this done though, because it is getting worse, the rash down there, but I thought it was related to the treatment I was having, and it's not. It's totally independent of it. So that's what totally threw me. 8 o'clock, and the forecast clear day by the Bureau has turned out to be anything but.
I'm going to warn you, mate, this is not comfortable to come out.
Yesterday I was in a ward on the 4th floor when I got admitted to the hospital unexpectedly, and today after the operation, which took place at around 10:10 in the evening, they moved me to, after it went through recovery area, they moved me to this ward, which is on the ground level, as you can see, and I've just got my breakfast, which is including porridge, tea, orange juice, and one piece of white bread. Must have come from Smithfield, where they specialise in white bread at Woolworths, and a couple of condiments. And so it's around 8 o'clock, I think, right now. I haven't turned on my mobile because I'm down to about 24% battery, so I'm going to retain that because I might need to call Steve. We'll just see what happens. I'm going to be allowed to leave. The medicos have just turned up, the ones who did the surgery, and they've just removed a big patch from my abdomen, bandage, and had to remove some packing within the actual incision, and then which was supposed to be very potentially extremely painful. It wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't that bad. But she oversold the potential for pain, which I suppose is a good thing to do. Now I've got to have another nurse come in and put some more packing back into it, and also go to my local GP and have it looked at as well. So it's a bit of maintenance required with this. So totally unexpected, but has to be done because otherwise an infection could have taken over my whole body and I'd be RIP. So it's rather important to be done. Anyway, I'll go into my breakfast now. Hey, just had all the maintenance done on my my dressing. That all done. She seems pretty good, and she may even be able to remove all this plumbing on my port. I've got the sort of like the bionic man at the moment. I've got all this stuff here. So that's the one they use all the time when I go into the clinic. They use the port. It's much easier, but they used a cannula for the antibiotics I had last night, and they can be a bit of a pain to insert. The guy on duty had to actually get a doctor to come by to put it in because he couldn't get it right. So that's unusual, because I'd always thought doctors didn't have the experience to do that. But the night doctors here apparently have got a lot of experience of that type of thing. So she got it straight away, first time. So good. But cannulas are a pain. They're very temperamental compared to a port. Definitely ports are the way to go if you've got them, but they don't have the facilities here to pump antibiotics in via port, yet they do on the 4th level where I start off, that ward there. So yeah, it's hit and miss. Anyway, the weather seems to be getting slightly better outside, not raining but overcast, and so my garden will have a bit of moisture, which is good, because I've missed doing the watering today. Got to go all the way to Trinity Beach General Practice to have a redressing done after my operation on Tuesday night. Every second day this wound has to be redressed and repacked, so that means you've got to squeeze all this gauze down to a very narrow passageway where the wound is, and after you've actually removed it, removing it hurts more. That's what I'm going to have to confront when I get there. So I'll give myself over half hour to get to the Trinity Beach practice. It's a little further than the Kewarra Beach one. I'm not quite sure why they can't do this at Kewarra Beach. They've got a nurse there as well, so it's a bit baffling to me. But, most of my appointments are at Trinity Beach. And I do have one at Kewarra. As I say, I've no idea why it works out that way. It's a bit of a pain, but my major concern really is, so I'm supposed to meet up with, this is Friday, and we usually have our drink session at 4 o'clock. I've got an appointment at 2 down there, which is close to where the beach house is. But is it worth coming back here? That's the big question. I just realised I've got to pack something. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I forgot. The question is, will I want to walk all the way back here, then walk back again? I mean, it's going to be, I'll be absolutely exhausted. So I don't think my endurance I'll be able to handle it. I was actually going to ride the bike, but thought better of it. The old push bike, that is, not even the e-bike. I'd be worried about the e-bike getting nicked over there in that particular shopping centre. I think it'd be fairly high risk, so I don't want to take that risk. But yeah, so at 3:30, so that's 2 hours from now. Steve will be at the end of this street, maybe with his other half Yvonne, maybe, I'm not sure. And they'll be heading over to the beach house. But whether I've got the energy to come back here, or just wait up there, maybe just sit around the beach for an hour or two. I mean, I suppose there's worse things you could do. It's just a long time to kill, unfortunately. This particular procedure, it's going to continue on for a month. It's how long it takes for the wound to heal. So it's a real imposition. So the good news is I don't seem to have any infection around the wound now. It seems that all the redness is gone, so the antibiotics seem to be doing their trick, and that is the most important thing. So all the other stuff's just inconveniences. Now coming up to Alex Seckler's, one of Alex Seckler's houses. A very wealthy man. He's a billionaire, so he has quite a few properties, and he's still got this one up for sale. Apparently that's the I don't know if you can see it, but there's the for sale sign in front of the property. It's not that particular. The for sale sign is not particularly flash. It's just a standard one, and it could take a while to sell a $12 million property. That could take some time. I think it's a $12 million property. Yeah, pretty big. There's a few pretty expensive properties along here. Guess I'm lucky to be in such close proximity to such an affluent area. But yeah, as I say, it's not the biggest board. I mean, it'd be a standard board size, I would think. So I guess he's figured out what's the best place to spend his money. Must have been doing okay over the years to amass billions. Although there has been rumours that I don't think the Russians are big fans, so they might think he's swiped some of their dough. I'm not sure. There was some article, it was a Russian press, and they would. That's about one of the only references I could find to him. A couple of local references where he's donated to, say, medical facilities or something like that. But as far as his actual business is concerned, I only found Russian references. Although I think he's an Israeli. It's all very complicated. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.